Okay, let's have a quick look at game 2 of 8. So Nigel Short playing white plays e4, and Kasparov actually plays in a very hyper-modern way in this game. He fianchettos one bishop, the modern defence, and he outrageously plays the hippopotamus. It's characterised by these two pawns there, and like a hippo sort of waiting in the water, he fianchettos the other bishop. And there's great versatility to sort of emerge from the water, so to speak, because black has various breaks available later and expansions also like this. And in fact, I was playing one GM quite a bit on Bullet, who played this, and with great success, because it's great for pre-moves, this system. You know, quickly just doing your own thing, basically. Not really, it's sort of independent of the opponent moves. So if you want to play a quick bullet chess, this is a great system, the Hippo. So a sort of an abuse, you could say, of hyper-modern chess as just a way of not bothering about what the opponent's playing, just playing your own system. So h6, after queen e2, actually we start to sense some danger with white's kind of only exposed piece outside of the pawn chain here, well, one of the only two. This bishop can be sort of harassed, and it's this harassment actually which leads to black very soon winning actually an exchange later. We'll see on this diagonal, which is quite an interesting aspect of this game. So castles, knight h2, as if knight g4 or f4 are being prepared here. Knight g4 would target h6. f4, f5 might be useful because the bishop's also supporting that kind of break, which could really fracture black's pawn structure here. But Kasparov is keen actually to sort of undermine white's queenside. He plays a3, and now he starts playing into the dark squares with more pressure with that fianchetto bishop. So targeting the central squares and maybe the c file as well. So it's actually a little bit tricky for white now. Nigel just plays rook ad1. After takes, knight c6, more pressure. And not just on d4, but also this knight b4, which carries with it a nasty bishop a6 implication, which in fact is carried out now, knight b4. Now Nigel, I think, did exactly the right thing here. He sort of makes this sort of backfire on the knight with a clever idea now. If instead he plays rook fe1, sorry, if he played rook fe1 to avoid this kind of exchange winning skewer, he might be in trouble with knight f6. For example, e5, knight fd5, and it's starting to look highly unpleasant, this position, especially this a2 pawn. So what he did was actually a very nice exchange sack actually in the circumstances, in my opinion. He played bishop b1, inviting bishop a6, because queen d2 is actually forking in effect h6 and b4, because we've got this extended bell battery on h6 with bishop and queen, and b4 is also attacked. Kasparov takes his exchange, and the engine doesn't, you know, mind white's position now much. It's about equal actually. After, you know, getting that pawn, it's an important like kingside safety pawn. But after e5, in fact, white's getting the advantage now. Curiously, after queen e7, d5, Kasparov, he sacks pawn now. He plays knight d4. I wonder actually, is that theoretically the best move? It looks like a surprising pawn sack. It's not actually listed by Houdini. Knight b8, knight a5 about equal, knight a7 even, knight d8, basically every other knight move virtually, apart from knight b4 of course. So these four would all seem to be equal, roughly equal, with knight b8 being like the favourite move. So say queen g5, queen d8, knight e3, rook h8 would be a continuation. But Kasparov, by playing knight d4, the advantage goes up here. I don't know if you can see that to like 0.4. So I don't know what piece play implication this was. Maybe just to open up the e file here, just to put frontal pressure on the e pawn, which might be a good blitz strategy. As we know, in blitz, a lot of importance in counterplay, in active pieces, in pressure, in putting the opponent on the defensive. But actually it's followed up with offering the exchange of queens. So I suppose the maneuverability of, you know, the rooks was being counted on here, but Nigel did very well the exchange down now. He's targeting b5, he's strengthening his pawn chain, He's making sure b4 is not possible from black. So b5 definitely highlighted as a weakness. But also now, after this b4, we see the possibility of also targeting a3 via knight c2. So knight c2, the rook comes in to protect a3. Now the king comes in as though it's going to attack that rook to put more pressure basically on a3. So knight e3 now, because the rook was now threatening rook c2 there. So knight d6, king still comes in to d2. And then we see g4 as if f5 is being sort of prophylactically prevented. But it does weaken h3, which Kasparov now pounces on with rook h8. And after rook h1 now seals this h4 move, clamping down on white playing h4. So rook h2, king f goes to f6, rook h1. It looks as though white's slightly passive now. He attacks the pawn now. That's ignored actually, because if it takes, then rook and goes there, and then a2 will be under fire after that. The knight's ideally placed actually as a blockade of the d pawn and also protecting b5 in this position. So rook sees e8, bishop goes back, freeing up the rook now if the rook did want to do something. King goes to a more ideal spot, hitting a3 now. So it's as if a3 is going to drop, but actually h4 is now played while the chance is given. So the rook is now coming on the h4, but now we get an exchange of rooks, with white now winning h3. After rook h1, bishop takes b5. It looks as though white's been collecting a lot of pawns. So the pawn situation, white is now dramatically 4 pawns up for the exchange, but black's going to be winning one back here by force with rook h3. Rook h3, bishop e2, knight e4. So say, how do we protect this? There's knight e4 here. So I guess this is why both sides weren't completely happy playing on from this position, and a draw was agreed here, I believe. So an exciting game with the hippo being played by Kasparov. So he's having fun in his retirement age with these exhibition matches, and very fun, entertaining opening style. So the hippopotamus, brilliant for bullet chess pre-movers. If you want to get in a lot of pre-moves without having to watch the opponent's position, you can abuse the hypermodern concept by just taking the aspect of ignoring the opponent's moves by fianchettoing both bishops, and later also the aspect of sort of undermining the centre is demonstrated. But there's a sort of, I think this is a dodgy idea now actually. My opinion is knight d4. Okay, I'm biased by the engine evaluation position, but knight d4 looks like a dodgy pawn sacrifice from Kasparov. Maybe he's just, playing some of his moves for dramatic effect. Just, I don't know. It doesn't seem the most solid continuation, this pawn sack. But it is a blitz match, so maybe he wants to also add a little bit of confusion to Nigel for what he's doing. But we get this situation where the rooks now come off, and they're both probably not happy, not that happy enough to continue. So a draw was agreed around about here after bishop takes b5. Okay, comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.